We know the starters for Pokémon Legends Z-A. Now we wait to see if they get a special regional form, like most are expecting, just like Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott did in Pokémon Legends Arceus. With that said, could Game Freak have already sowed the seeds of what the typings of those regional forms could be? Hello trainers, I'm Rival John, and one of the biggest speculations ahead as we await another news drop from Game Freak about Pokemon Legends Z-A is what kind of new treatment Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile will get. In Legends Arceus, the three starters all got final regional evolutions with new or added secondary typings. I know there's two sides to this debate. Will they get Mega Evolved forms, or will they get Collision regional evolutions? Personally, and just to keep with the fairness, I think it'll be regional forms. So that begs the question, what typings could they give these three to change them up? Well, I may have found an In-TERA-sting connection. Remember those 7-star raids that were one of the few events that kept Scarlet and Violet alive through 2023 and 2024? Every final evolved starter from all 9 generations have taken part. And the Terra types picked for these boss battles were not just random. I've always seen these 7-star raids as giving each of these Pokemon their quote-unquote true additional typing. Charizard, a fire flying type, was given the Dragon Terra, because we all know it's basically a dragon. Cinderace, a pure fire type, was given the fighting type Terra. Fitting because among the many things the fighting type represents in the franchise is athleticism and sports. Empoleon, the water steel type, based on an animal that lives in ice-filled habitats, was given the ice type Terra. You see what I mean? Every Terra battle gave them a typing that, if you could give them a third typing or an additional one, it would be the perfect one for them. And that brings me to the 7-star raids for Meganium, Emboar, and Feraligatr. Now, I'm not saying these will 100% be the typing. All I'm saying is at one point in time, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company associated these 3 starters with these 3 typings. And I think I know why, and how that could inspire a Collision regional form. Meganium, Emboar, and Feraligatr followed the gimmick of the 7-star raids, giving each a unique typing. The mono-type Meganium was given the Psychic Terra, the dual-type Emboar was given the Electric Terra, and the mono-type Feraligatr was given the Dark Terra. Why these 3? It was probably to capitalize on specific moves they had that would benefit from the Terastallized boost. But suppose it's also a clue to something innate inside them, a hidden power, or a typing not usually seen in Johto or Unova, rather one that a change of scenery could bring about. So let's start with everyone's new favorite grass type starter. Chikorita's final stage, Meganium's more striking visual design is the flower that it has around its neck. Based mostly on the geranium flower, I think this is the area that any new design would most likely tackle, because there's something called the language of flowers. Different flowers represent and symbolize various things. Roses being linked with passion, bright yellow sunflowers being linked with happiness, that kind of thing. So how can we change up Meganium's Collision form to suit a psychic typing? There's actually one flower that not only fits pretty well, it's actually very important in French culture, which is where Kalos and Lumio City are based off. The iris flower. They come in different colors, but I wanted to focus on the purple iris, because I think it's the one that fits the best for this theory. Purple irises are one of the most common colors you might find, and they symbolize royalty and wisdom. The name comes from the Greek goddess Iris, a messenger of the gods who was known for her wisdom. In later interpretations, the 3 petals of the flowers symbolize a humanistic trinity, mind, body, and spirit. The iris also has been known to mean nobility, as it's been long associated with royalty all throughout history, especially in France. The national flower of France is the iris, and the fleur de lis, the symbol of French nobility, is actually a stylized iris, making this a perfect inspiration to give Meganium a more French feel. The second biggest thing about Meganium that you'll see again and again in its Pokédex entry is how the flower produces a sweet aroma that quells even the most enraged Pokemon and people. The smell it gives off is an aromatherapy that calms and attracts Pokemon. And what else is France known for? Perfume. This is the same generation that gave us the Spritzy line, and a Colosian Meganium, perhaps the first one ever seen there when you evolve your Chikorita, would feel right at home helping people create luxury scents. The real-life iris flower are known for their powdery, floral, and slightly earthy scent with subtle undertones of spice or musk. And one final note about this, yes, I saw the trailer and I, just like everyone else, saw that Chikorita learns a new move pretty early on that's new to Legends Z-A, Disarming Voice. And that's led everyone thinking it's hinting at a grass fairy typing. That would debunk the Terra theory, but everything I've said up until now would still fit. The mind, body, spirit symbolism of the iris could fit with the spirit being more of the fairy typing part, instead of the mind being psychic. And the fact that the perfume Pokemon in Kalos is also a fairy, that's pretty solid evidence Game Freak associates perfumes with fairy types. So I'd say that my second guess for Meganium is it could get the fairy typing. And just because it learns a fairy type move doesn't mean it will be fairy type. A lot of psychic types utilize fairy type moves despite not being fairy type themselves. Dark type is actually my favorite type. And if there's always something I associate with the type is fear. And fear is exactly what the people of France felt some more than 40 years ago when it was discovered that a crocodile was living in the sewers. Picture it. Paris, 1984. Council workers are on site of a project in the sewers, and then they notice something strange in the dimly lit tunnel. A large Nile crocodile near the Seine River, and it had apparently been there a while. Little is known about how it got there. Many believe she, yes, the croc was a female, was a pet that somebody grew tired of when she got a little too big. She was named Eleanor, and she's thought to have had such a big ecological impact that she might be the reason the rat population in the city noticeably fell. Eleanor was captured and then taken to a zoo in the northern region of France, where she lived the rest of her days out before she died in 2021. In this real-life story, we saw the realization of what was once just an urban legend. The monster gator in the sewer trope. Since the 1930s, people have believed that alligators live in the sewers of major cities. This idea became popular in the 1950s and has continued for many years on. This urban legend is said to have come from the New York City Commissioner of the Sewers at the time. He was reported as saying several inspectors spotted alligators in the city's underground tunnels circa 1935. Officials in New York went as far as setting up gator hunts. And that's kind of where the myth and later the reality of this phobia we have about what lurks down in the sewers came from. Have there been alligators spotted in urban areas? Yes. They likely arrive via mail or are purchased by enthusiasts who then struggle to care for them, and then they just end up dumping them. So you got abandonment, fears people have about going down in the dark, damp sewers. Sounds perfect for Feraligatr. Feraligatr is already a ferocious Pokemon, but when you take it out of the rivers and swamps it would normally inhabit, and instead bring it into the narrow confines of the city, it could gain the dark typing. Emboar's typing would actually be a first of its kind. Like with one of my previous videos, I talked briefly about how the Unova starters were all based on different civilizations. Emboar draws from ancient Chinese lore. In a translated interview with Ken Sugimori, again, thank you Dr. Lava, link in the description, the creators drew from two Chinese tales, Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Journey to the West. It's the second one that we're going to be focusing on. While Unnovan Emboar draws heavily from the first story, its collusion form may tip the balance and have it draw from the character Zhu Baizhe. Zhu Baizhe was a pig demon in Journey to the West. He was also known as the Thunder Boar. Journey to the West is considered one of the great tales of antiquity. So much so that to this day, there are retellings of it. Like 2024's Black Myth Wukong, where you actually get to fight the Thunder Boar itself. Here's what it looks like. It's probably the same reason Emboar was given the Electric Terra in its 7-star raid. And honestly, that's it. That's the connection to the typing. And let's not forget that Lumiose City is home to the Electric type gym. Lumiose Tower takes up a massive wattage to keep it lit, especially at night. And Paris, the city Lumiose is based on, is known as the City of Lights. And there you have it. There was a lot of thought put into these 7-star raids, and after a while it became so clear what they were going for. Could Meganium, Feraligatr, and Emboar get any typing? Of course. I mean, do they really want back-to-back Water Dark regional form for the starters? This is the company that gave us 3 generations of firefighting starters though, so I digress. The Kalos starters themselves have secondary typings of Fighting, Psychic, and Dark. So would they want to differentiate the Z-A starters from the Kalos typings? Sure. However, I think these typings offer a rich connection to Kalos, while definitely giving them a fresh design and a possible competitive advantage. Once again, a big thank you if you've made it this far into the video. I can't believe this already makes 5 videos out. Please, please, please remember to like and subscribe. Help me get to 500 subscribers. Share with the Pokemon nerd in your life, and of course, join the conversation. One of the biggest motivators is reading your comments and seeing people engage. So, tell me, did Game Freak already subtly reveal the typings for the Legends Z-A trio? Do you think these typings, along with their inspirations, make sense? Do you like them? And what typings would you want to see them get? One more thing. Yes, I've seen the rumors swirling around, and to be honest, while I came up with these ideas centered around regional forms, any mega form could easily follow any of the inspirations I put forward, so do with that what you will. Megas or regional forms, the inspirations fit either. Let me know. Until next time, trainers.